I never thought my life would turn into one of those corporate thrillers you binge on Netflix. But here I am, spilling it all out. My name's Emily Carter, and for the past year and a half, I've been the invisible force keeping Cascade Tech afloat. We're a mid-sized software firm nestled in the heart of Seattle, Washington, right in that sweet spot where the Puget Sound meets the Cascade Mountains. Think rainy mornings, coffee runs to indie roasters, and a skyline dotted with cranes building the next big tech hub. But behind the sleek glass offices and ping-pong tables in the break room, things were rotting from the inside. It started back in early 2024. Cascade was on the brink after a massive data breach that leaked client info across the dark web. The feds got involved, FTC investigations, class action lawsuits piling up like snow in the Olympics. The CEO, my old college buddy Mark Reynolds, called me in a panic. We're drowning here. Need your magic. I'd built my consulting firm, Horizon Analytics, on fixing messes like this, specializing in cybersecurity frameworks and predictive algorithms that could spot vulnerabilities before they blew up. But Mark wanted it hush-hush. No public ties, he said. We can't afford the optics of outsourcing our core tech. So, I signed on under an NDA thicker than a Montana winter coat. I'd work remotely from my cozy cabin in the suburbs, routing everything through encrypted servers. No name on the org chart. No shout-outs in meetings. Just results. For 16 months, I was a ghost. I rebuilt their entire security infrastructure from scratch, layering in AI-driven threat detection that complied with every U.S. data privacy law under the sun. From CCPA in California to the patchwork of state regs across the West. I even wove in some proprietary models I'd patented back in my grad school days at UW. These weren't off-the-shelf tools. They were custom, with watermarks embedded in the code that traced back to Horizon. The Master Services Agreement, MSA, was crystal clear. I retained IP rights. And any derivative work needed my attribution, or it'd trigger arbitration under California law, since that's where our servers were hosted. Fancy legalese for don't steal my stuff, or I'll haul you to court. Then Sarah Klein stormed in like a wildfire in the Sierras. Fresh from a stint at a Silicon Valley unicorn, she was hired as VP of Strategy. 30-something, sharp as a tack, with a TED Talk under her belt about disrupting legacy mindsets. I watched it online, sipping my morning joe, thinking, okay, she's got charisma. But charisma doesn't code. Sarah hit the ground running, charming the board with buzzwords like agile pivots and narrative-driven growth. Mark loved her, said she was the fresh blood we needed to attract West Coast investors. At first, I didn't mind. My updates went through secure channels, and she'd tweak my reports, adding flashy visuals. But then the erasures started. She'd strip out my risk disclosures, calling them clutter that scares off VCs. I'd flag it anonymously. Hey, those are mandated under federal guidelines. Remove them, and you're risking an SEC probe. No response. Just emojis in Slack. One day, she presented my full predictive model at an internal demo, the one forecasting client retention post-breach. She claimed it as our team's breakthrough. No mention of me. I felt a pit in my stomach, like I'd been sucker-punched at a family barbecue. But it got personal when family entered the picture. Mark's wife, Lisa, was on the board, his high school sweetheart from Idaho. Now a sharp accountant. We'd all vacationed together once, back when things were simple. Sarah started cozying up to her, whispering about modernizing the company. Lisa began questioning my anonymous inputs, saying they felt outdated. I confided in Mark over an encrypted call. This is my work.
Month.
Give me credit where it's due. He brushed it off.
Ing.
It's politics. Once the deal closes, we'll sort it. The deal was a big one, a potential acquisition by a Denver-based venture firm looking to expand into AI security. Sarah led the pitch prep, gutting my models and repackaging them with Canva flair. She even overrode the metadata, deleting my embedded licenses. I logged every change, timestamps, hashes, the works. Under U.S. copyright law, that was infringement plain and simple. My attorney, Rachel Gomez, a bulldog from L.A., reviewed it all. She's playing with fire.
Eminência.
Clause 9.7 in the MSA gives you enforcement rights. We can demand arbitration. I didn't want war. I wanted fairness. But Sarah pushed me over the edge in that hallway moment. I bumped into her at the office during a rare in-person visit, me in jeans and a hoodie, her in power heels. Sarah, about the deck. My name's not on it. She didn't even pause. Just shut her laptop and said, "We don't credit temps."
Don't?
I'd save their asses. She strode off like I was the barista who'd messed up her latte. That blank stare, it wasn't just professional. It felt like erasing a person. I didn't yell. I went home, hiked the trails near Lake Washington to clear my head, and decided to build my case quietly. Rachel and I gathered evidence, version histories showing her deletions.
Amai els provingude flagge riscs.
We even looped in a contact at the acquiring firm, a former colleague from a Portland project, who whispered, "Buyers hate IP surprises. Give me the breadcrumbs." As the summit neared, Sarah's confidence soared. She dry ran the pitch in the boardroom, boasting about streamlining redundancies. Lisa nodded along, but Mark looked uneasy. I wasn't invited, but Rachel was, as legal observer per the MSA. She texted me, "She's claiming your heat maps as internal genius." My blood boiled, but I stayed cool. We had 14 violations logged, enough to trigger a mandatory disclosure under the agreement. The family angle hit harder when Mark called me late one night. "Sarah's saying you're overstepping. Lisa thinks we should cut ties." Cut ties? After all I'd done? It felt like betrayal from kin. But I reminded myself, this was business, laced with personal stakes. I prepped my reveal, not for revenge, but for truth. The summit was held in a swanky conference center overlooking Elliott Bay, seagulls wheeling outside, ferries chugging across the sound. The air hummed with that Pacific Northwest vibe. Optimistic, innovative, but undercut with the grind of startup life. Investors from Denver and Phoenix mingled, sipping craft IPAs instead of champagne. Sarah owned the room from the start, her red blazer popping against the neutral tones. She clicked through slides I'd poured my soul into, declaring, "We've revolutionized our security posture with cutting-edge optimizations."
No footnotes.
No nods to the ghost in the machine. I stood at the back, badge reading, Horizon consultant, heart pounding like I'd run up or near. Rachel sat midway, her tablet open to our evidence packet. The lead investor, a grizzled vet named Tom Hargrove from Colorado, leaned forward after her close. Impressive. But whose algorithms underpin these forecasts? We need provenance for due diligence. Sarah smiled, smooth as butter. Internal developments, refined by our strategy team.
Lie.
Bold-faced, under the bright lights. Rachel didn't hesitate. She raised her hand, calm as a judge. "Actually,
Tom,
those models are licensed from Horizon Analytics. I'm here as counsel." The room shifted, murmurs rippling like wind through pines. Sarah's eyes darted to me, recognition dawning. Tom took my card, brows furrowing. "Emily Carter? The one who patented those threat detection overlays." I nodded. That's me. Sarah tried to recover. We used some templates early on, but they've been fully integrated. Rachel countered. Integrated without attribution. Violating U.S. Copyright Act Section 106. We've logged the breaches. Tom turned to Sarah. Voice steady. You aware of this? She stammered.
I
Wasn't briefed fully. The CFO, Mark's brother-in-law Greg, cleared his throat. We can clarify post-meeting, but the damage was done. Investors paused proceedings, demanding full disclosure. Back at the office, chaos ensued. Mark pulled me into his corner suite. Mount Baker framed behind him. What the hell? This could tank the deal. I laid it out. Your VP stole my work.
Mark
Erased me like I was nothing. But this isn't just about credit, it's legal. Under the MSA, you have to notify stakeholders within 72 hours or face liability. Lisa stormed in, eyes flashing. Emily, your family. Why go nuclear? Family? We'd shared holidays in the Cascades. Barbecued salmon on the deck. But this hurt deeper. Because you let her erase me.
Lisa.
I fixed your breach. Saved jobs, including yours. And for what? To be called a temp? Sarah emailed me that night. Let's talk. Misunderstanding. I ignored it. Hiking with my dog to process. Rachel advised, we can arbitrate quietly. No need for court. But the humane side nagged. Sarah wasn't evil. Maybe ambitious to a fault. Blinded by the hustle culture out west. The next day, the board convened an emergency session. Rain pattered against the windows as accusations flew.
Greg admitted.
We should have vetted the decks better. Sarah defended. I thought it was legacy code, fair game. Mark sighed.
No. Sarah.
It was Emily's lifeline for us. I spoke up. Look, I'm not here to destroy Cascade. But credit matters. It's not just ego. It's about integrity in tech, where ideas are currency.
Tom.
Conferenced in. Agreed. Clean this up, or we're out. We negotiated on the spot. Attribution restored. Royalties for my IP. And Sarah on probation with mandatory ethics training. But the drama peaked when Sarah cornered me in the hall. You set me up. I shook my head.
No.
You erased me. But let's fix this together. She broke then, admitting the pressure from her own family back in Arizona, divorced parents pushing success at all costs. I thought shortcuts were the way up. It humanized her. We all chase the American dream. But sometimes it blinds us. That night, over coffee with Mark and Lisa, we hashed it out like old times. We took you for granted. Mark said. Lisa hugged me. Family sticks together. The lesson sunk in the wild west of tech. Honesty builds stronger empires than shortcuts. Still, the investigation continued. Rachel uncovered more. Sarah had altered data to inflate projections, skirting SEC rules. But instead of firing her, Mark suggested mediation. Let's learn from this. Mediation happened in a neutral spot, a cozy lodge in the Snoqualmie Pass. Snow-capped peaks reminding us of bigger things than boardrooms. It felt right for the Western spirit. Rugged, resilient, face-to-face. Rachel facilitated, outlining the legal clarity under Title 17 of the U.S. Code. My copyrights were ironclad. Sarah's team had reproduced and distributed derivative works without permission, exposing Cascade to damages up to $150,000 per infringement if it went to court. Sarah sat across. No blazer this time, just a sweater. Looking vulnerable. I screwed up. I was chasing the win, ignoring the foundation. I nodded. That foundation was mine. But I get it. The pressure's intense out here. Startup culture chews you up if you're not ruthless. We dove deep. Her backstory emerged, grew up in Phoenix. Single mom working double shifts. Instilling climb or die. It echoed my own roots in rural Oregon, where my dad taught me coding on an old PC to escape farm life. Mark and Lisa joined, turning it into family therapy. Greg confessed he'd overlooked red flags to keep peace. We all share blame. The detective in me, always piecing puzzles, saw the social psych. Groupthink had blinded them, erasing the outsider to protect the narrative. We agreed on terms, full attribution in all docs, a 10% royalty on deals using my models, and Sarah shadowing me for a month to learn the ropes. No lawsuit, just restitution. It felt humane, like mending a fence instead of burning the ranch. Back in Seattle, things shifted. Sarah and I collaborated on the revised pitch.
Teach me your magic, she said.
I showed her the code's elegance, how compliance isn't a hurdle but a safeguard. We bonded over hikes, sharing stories, her failed marriage, my loneliness as a solo consultant. The drama softened into understanding, but twists lingered. During our sessions, I spotted anomalies in old logs, subtle hacks tracing to a competitor in Vegas. This wasn't just our breach, I said. Sarah's eyes widened.
Inside job.
We played detectives, sifting data like prospectors panning gold. It led to Greg. He'd leaked info unwittingly via a phishing scam, tied to his gambling debts in Nevada. Confronting him was gut-wrenching. Family barbecue turned interrogation. Greg.
Why?
Tears flowed. I was in deep. Thought it'd blow over. Lisa was devastated. Her brother. Betraying the clan. Mark exploded. You could have come to us. But we chose compassion. Instead of cops, we arranged debt counseling and a demotion. Legal angle. Reported to authorities anonymously. Avoiding scandal. The lesson crystallized. Secrets fester in families and firms. Openness heals. Sarah redeemed herself by leading the internal audit, exposing more vulnerabilities. Investors returned, impressed by our transparency. This shows maturity, Tom said. As spring bloomed, cherry blossoms lining Seattle streets, I reflected. Revenge could have destroyed, but humanity rebuilt stronger bonds. Still, vigilance remained. Trust, once broken, needs mending. With the acquisition back, on track, Cascade buzzed like a beehive in the Rockies. But the family drama simmered. Lisa confided over wine at her queen and home. Greg's mess hit hard. Feels like our foundations cracked. I empathized. My own family had splintered when Dad's farm failed, teaching me resilience.
We'll patch it, I said.
Sarah and I dove into forensics. Using my tools, we traced the phishing to a Nevada-based ring targeting Western tech firms. This is bigger than us, Sarah noted. We looped in the FBI's Seattle field office, clear protocol under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Agents praised our logs, solid evidence chain. Greg broke fully during questioning. I clicked a bad link during a Vegas trip. They blackmailed me.
No malice.
Just weakness. The family rallied. Therapy sessions in a cozy Bellevue center, focusing on addiction and communication. Mark admitted his role. I pushed growth over people. It was raw, tears, hugs, the works. Social psych at play, adverse events forging tighter units. Legally, we navigated carefully. Rachel ensured non-prosecution for Greg in exchange for cooperation. The ring got busted. Headlines read, Western Cyber Syndicate dismantled. Cascade's rep soared, from victim to hero. Sarah's transformation shone. She credited me publicly in a company all hands. Emily's framework saved us, twice. Applause echoed. Investors closed the deal, valuing our ethical pivot. Royalties flowed, letting me expand horizon. But the humane twist, Sarah invited me to her Arizona family reunion. Meet the folks who shaped my drive. Amid desert sunsets, her mom hugged me. You taught her humility. We shared stories around a campfire, my Oregon roots blending with their Southwest tales. Lesson: ambition without empathy is a lonely trail. Back home, Mark hosted a barbecue on Whidbey Island. Greg, sober and grateful, toasted to second chances. Lisa whispered, "Thanks for not letting us fall." I felt whole, not just credited, but connected. Yet, a final curve. An anonymous tip revealed Sarah had known about Greg's slip earlier but stayed silent. Fearing fallout. Confrontation in the office. Why? She confessed, scared it'd undo my progress. Betrayal stung, but I chose forgiveness. We all falter. Let's build trust forward. The ending wasn't fireworks, it was quiet growth. Cascade thrived. Family mended. And I learned, in the American West's vast spaces, room exists for redemption if you make it. As summer faded into that crisp Washington autumn, leaves turning gold like Idaho potatoes, I looked back on the whirlwind. Cascade wasn't just saved, it evolved. With my models fully integrated and attributed, we launched a new AI security suite, marketed across the West. Reviews praised its robustness, compliant with everything from Utah's data laws to Oregon's privacy mandates. The family healed in layers. Mark and Lisa renewed vows in a simple ceremony by the sound, inviting us all. Greg, in recovery, took a mentorship role, guiding juniors on ethical pitfalls. I learned the hard way, he'd say. Sarah and I co-authored a white paper on IP integrity in tech, presented at a Denver conference. Credit where due builds empires, we argued. But the true lesson was light, woven into daily life, in a world of cutthroat climbs. Pausing for humanity pays dividends. I saw it when Sarah helped a struggling intern, echoing my guidance. Or when Mark instituted attribution audits company-wide. Legally, closure came clean. Arbitration wrapped with a settlement. Cascade paid fair use fees.
No penalties.
Rachel high-fived. Textbook case clear. Enforceable.
Personally,
I found balance. Weekends hiking Olympics with new friends from the firm, including Sarah. Who knew enemies make great allies, she joked. The drama faded, replaced by bonds forged in fire. One evening, watching the sunset over Puget, Mark pulled me aside.
Inc.
You didn't just fix our tech, you fixed us. I smiled. That's the point. We're all connected in this wild west. The story ends not with downfall, but uplift. A reminder. Erase someone, and you erase part of yourself. But acknowledge, forgive, and grow. That's the real American comeback.